but what would you say is the most misunderstood part about or of abundance?
Uh, that it's not, it's static in that we live in it. So people think abundance is something you go get, um,
Mm,
and it's really just something you open yourself up to, across the board in every aspect of life. Um, Abundance is always available. It's what we're breathing. It's how we move. It's what the function, the organs in our body is doing as we speak right now. It's the symphony and the orchestra of cicada and butterflies and uh, weather patterns and things that are occurring without us even trying, right? It's the hair growing from our heads. It's the love and reverberation we feel when we think about people we truly care about. It's all of it, bro. We're swimming in it. And the best ability is availability. Most people are all trying to uh, skill up, and yes to skills, but receptivity is the name of the game. How available are you to the presence that is always a presence, never an absence, always in all ways showing itself? That.
mhm, that part. And when it comes to this topic of abundance, I know I very highly respect you and what you've cultivated for yourself in your life as a man, in all areas of your life. You could say abundantly abundant. Um, and how did you fall into the remembering of this perspective that you have now? Or
Mm.
was it always that
Um,
way for you, or did something shift?
Absolutely not. Not even close. Yeah, I had a lot of shifts, a lot of them. Even a recent one where my wife and I were a couple years ago. We were on the edge of divorce after having 4 kids. We were thinking about calling it quits, and that was a huge awakening for me. Um, I'm 40. I'll be 44 in a month and a half, a month and a week, and uh, the beautiful thing about life and it's uh, is it never turns off. And so there'll always be opportunities to see if you're really looking. And so one of my biggest realizations came at 25 years old when my heart started to break down. Um, and of course, you don't mess with the heart. So I didn't want to die. So I made drastic changes. The reason why my heart was breaking down was because my stress levels were so high and I was eating terribly. So at that time, I knew nothing about nervous system work. I knew nothing about trauma. I knew nothing about toxic shame living in the body. I knew nothing of it. Now, this is what I teach, right? Everything is about freeing the body to free everything else because we're threefold beings: body, mind, and soul. Most people try to use their mind and mindset work to reconfigure their lives. And that's not wrong or bad, but it's the biggest thing going is the body, right? The body has its own intelligence, and the body remembers what the mind forgets. And so I can talk about X, Y, and Z to the cows come home, but if my body doesn't feel safe, if my nervous system is shut down, then I can't actually receive the love from that man, right? I know so many people who say, "Oh, I'm calling him my king," and then the man comes and they sabotage it, right? Oh, he's too nice, he's boring, he's this, he's that. No, you're just used to trauma bonding, right? Your body is so, it's still attuned to your dad leaving or being not available, right? It's still attuned to the molestation or the rape that occurred when you were 7, 14, 18. I do a workshop called the Bridge Experience, uh, which is basically a heart surgery for the entirety of a human. And the Bridge Experience, people come in there and they think to themselves, I've worked through my X, or I've worked through my Y, and I've worked through my Z. But because it's not a seminar, it's a workshop, and you're the workshop. We put people in beautifully high pressure situations, and then their nervous system does what it does under pressure. And then we go, what's that? And then they have an opportunity to recalibrate and reclaim themselves and their bodies, and they realize, I wasn't free. I thought I was, but I actually wasn't. It was a mental construct. I thought because I did therapy or I did, Landmark or MITT that it was over. No, there's so much more going on there. And so, yeah, man, that's a part of
Yeah,
it.
that's absolutely beautiful. Talk a little bit more about the calling in a partner and sabotaging it a bit, because when we talk about abundance, I think sometimes most people, I'm guilty of this. We think abundance, like, think about money. We don't usually think about love as the first,
Absolutely.
correlation in that. So I guess talking about an abundance of love or in your relationship, could you just speak more to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, there are different pillars of life, different domains of life. And we've been conditioned to look for money as the only way to experience abundance. And the truth is that money has no inherent value other than the value we give it, right? Like when it is on a tree, we look at it in a particular way, then it's carved off and it's this blank piece of paper. We look at it in a particular way. And then when we print this green stuff or whatever the country is you're in, and we look at it differently, and then we deify it and put it on a pedestal. But the truth is, it's like when somebody gets towards the end of their life, and we don't know when that is, but I've been around enough people who've been there. The thing that they care about more than anything is, did I love and did I let love in? Right? Did I laugh all of my laugh? Did I cry all of my cry? Did I open my heart? Did I allow heartbreak to shift and move me and to create new iterations and reach into aspects of myself I didn't know were possible? And so relationship is one of the biggest domains of abundance, right? If you don't have love, you don't got anything. If I know people right now who are they chased the career. They went for the boss babe thing. And now they're going, did I miss my opportunity to have kids? Trying to chase this idea. I know people right now who went after the quote unquote hot guy and skipped over the safe guy. And now they're, pushing into 46, 47, 48 and realizing what they did. And not that it was wrong or bad, but was it useful? Was it effective to chase the masculine capitalistic carrot? And then to go into a whole nother realm around relationship. A lot of people just literally have been so traumatized that they cannot, their body won't allow them to surrender, to attune. Right? I know so many women that say, I just want a man who will claim me and contain me. And yet they are not willing to actually be contained and claimed. And so there's this gas brake thing happening where they're telling the universe one thing, and then actions and energy is all saying another thing. And those two things don't go together.
So in your work, how do you get people to not do that game of gas brake towards actually aligned?
Yes. First things first is we have to disassociate. We have to look at it. Right? Like I had a client yesterday. I had him write on a piece of paper. I said, I want you to make a list of everything you inherited from your parents, from your church, from your schooling, and the neighborhood you grew up in. What did you inherit? Make a list of all of it. Oh, I got my anger from my dad. I got my this from my mom. I got my view of money from the trauma that happened. I got my view of relationships based on them yelling at each other. Okay, awesome. Write it all down. And next to each one, write keep or don't keep. Right? Because you have a choice. That's the thing. We don't realize that we have a choice in the matter. And I mean that literally. We have a choice in the matter. And so how my matter, my skin suit gets reconfigured. I'm 44, bro. And I look younger now than I did when I was 25 because I have a choice in the matter now, right? I have more vitality, more energy, more backbone now than I did at 31. What's that about? It's because I understand I have a choice in the matter, right? So the work would be to disassociate and look at who you think you are is not who you are, it's who you became. And so we have to reconstruct the identity by looking at what was the strategy? What did you do as a child to stay safe? What did you do as a 13-year-old little girl to get love from mommy or daddy or the lack thereof? Because whatever that was, it served you until it didn't. And what got you here will not get you there. The there is whatever the goal is. If the goal is to be in a relationship, if the goal is to be in a partnership where you open your heart, where you're willing to play and be seen and do your own work, oh my God, you cannot keep what you got from your dad, and his dad. It will not work to keep your mom's and her mom's construct. What's the point of choice if you're just going to inherit it and keep it? Some of those batons need to be passed back. Nope, I'm good. If I listened and did what my mom and my dad did, I'd have what they had. And I didn't want what they had. Not all of it. That's some of it. There's just so much more.
Yeah, there's a lot in this conversation already. I love it. When you spoke to calling in your king or calling in the person and sabotaging it, what would you say is, because obviously there's the inner work and there's like what's within us, and if everybody listening to this podcast is in the work in some regards, but what would you say culturally is going on in the relationship scene right now? Because I'm observing a shift in like what even in the past few hundred years, with the dynamic of humans in relationship. I'm just curious of your take on that.
Yeah, it's been interesting, man. Even from I'll say even 3 years ago, how people were viewing relationships is different than how they're viewing them now.
Definitely.
And I'll give you an example. During the pandemic, there was this girl boss, I got a dick too, let me rise to the top and go get him particular thing, where everybody wanted to be CEO mama and X, Y, and Z, and they just wanted to get to the top, just like the sort of patriarchal, masculine, capitalistic way. And over the last 3 to 4 years, I've watched so many people who have big platforms. If I named them right here, you'd be like, what? Who all are trying to get out of that. They're just literally looking for as many back doors as they can to get out of the seat of thinking that is fulfilling. I'm going to give you my take on men and women. I don't think we're the same species. When I coach men, I say, hey, bro, the issue you're making is you think she's another dude. You think you're just talking when dudes fight, we just fight, right? It's hey, bro, fuck you. Oh, fuck you, man. All right, cool. And then we're good. No, she is a tiger. You are a lion. Tigers can do different stuff. Hormonally, women experience and hold way more than we do. And so for that alone, and I'm going to give you something so deep and powerful, I am extremely grateful for my children. We have 4 beautiful kids under 6 years old. And I get moved every day by how much I love them and how grateful I am that I was chosen to be a dad. What's recently hit me is my gratitude isn't just for Alexi and the 10 months that she held those kids each time, but for the years. Since 13 years old, my wife has been enduring a period, a menstrual cycle. Since 13, she's been having to figure out how not to bleed on the bus and have everybody make fun of her. Since 13, she's been holding all of these waves of hormonal shifts so that I could have the experience of being a dad. And so for me, when it comes to loving women and holding space for women, it's not just for like what I got now. It's for what you held all those years prior, right? We all have our roles in society. I'm gonna jump ship for a second and
Yeah.
talk about something that is also troubling that we're starting to figure out. And that is the people who are having kids and going into relationships, they're having issues with the kids part because we're not set up to trust in the community. And so what's happening from a man's perspective, and ladies, hear me, from a man's perspective, men come to me all the time and they say, hey, we had our first kid and it's like she never wants me to leave. She wants me to provide, and yet she wants me to be an African grandmother and the auntie, and she wants me to sit there all day and be there while she's breastfeeding and do everything that the community would do if we were in caveman times. She wants me to be the women, the other gatherers, right? There's hunters and there's gatherers. She wants me to be a gatherer while simultaneously saying, go hunt. And so the men are coming to me and they're going, what the fuck do I do, bro? What do I do? Like, I'm going to die. Like, yes, I can wake up 100 times a night and sit there all day and just like look at the baby. But there's a part of me that feels like I need to go hunt for my family. And so I help coach them into understanding what's going on for her. One, this is the most vulnerable time ever. Two, we're in these sort of nuclear family scenarios. And her job is to hold the baby and the details of keeping that baby alive. Your job as the man is to hold her while she holds the details and to provide. And providing is not just what you go do for a living. Providing is how you contain, right? I had a friend, a client recently get in trouble because he was liking pictures on Instagram and his wife, who just had a child, was not happy about that, and he wasn't happy about how she wasn't happy. And I explained to him that this is the most vulnerable time ever for her, and your job is to contain and remind her that she's sexy, that she's beautiful, that she's yours forever. She wants to feel claimed. You think she's not looking at those Instagram booty models and thinking to herself, that woman's vulva is not ripped, but mine is, right? She's got the tight little body and I got this extra skin from carrying this man's baby, and he's liking her pictures. So I said to him, brother man, this is an opportunity for you to evolve your leadership. She is inviting you into your sacred manhood where you hold her. You go own it. Hey, baby, that was a mistake. I'm sorry. Now that I know, I will never do that again. I love you. You are mine forever. Women, no matter how much they swim in their masculine, this is my truth. It's not a fact. It's my philosophy. No matter how much they swim in their masculine, I think that all women and men are looking for the exhale. And I think it's men's job, especially right now in this society, to provide the exhale. Because women are tight. They're holding. That's how she was walking around. Nervous system clenched, hypervigilant. That's how she saw the likes on the Instagram. She was looking for it because she didn't feel claimed, right? So I said, bro, your job is to give her the exhale. Give her the moment where she goes, okay, he's got me and he's got us. Now I can focus on holding these babies. Yeah, that was a lot, but
Yeah,
as you can see, I
that's
swim in
great
this
though.
stuff all the time.
I fucking love it. And that exhale, at least from the masculine, comes with claiming. Yeah. What else would you say provides that exhale for a woman? And then I'd also like for you to talk about the
Plans.
other way around.
Yep. For a woman, from what I've gathered, it's having plans. It's psychologically making love to her, being interested in her, giving her something to look forward to. Because there's plans like next week, and there's plans like, hey, in 6 months we're going to Ibiza, right? Shared experiences, and this is for both parties. I tell women all the time when I'm coaching them, hey, so, okay, you just had a baby or whatever, you're in a marriage, and you're in a hormonal time where you don't necessarily want to just fuck your husband all the time. That's okay. What's not okay is if you do not provide a scenario where he understands that you still think he's attractive, right? And so I tell women, as little boys, there's a point around, let's call it 9 years old, where we stop being cute to everybody. And at that point, we're the like rubbing and hugging and like, oh my God, you're so cute, and all that goes away. And it goes to sports and fighting and competition. And so that little boy, for the rest of his life, will be looking for, searching for that level of care and love that he got from his mom that went away. And so if you don't do it, nobody will, right? So I'll give you an example. Me, Kevin Crenshaw, Garen, and everybody, we're all hanging out. None of us are going like this, like moving through each other's hair. Oh my God, your hair is so cute. Oh, baby, your skin's so soft. Oh, he broke up with you. Oh, let me rub your back. Like, we are never doing that, right? So women do it with each other. But if they don't do it to us, right? I say this all the time. You have a feminine power. You have a gift, a secret weapon called softness and femininity. And just wielding a little bit of it will create so much space in a man that you don't even have to have sex with them. I tell both sides, lie. Even if it's not true, tell them you want to fuck him. Oh, baby, I'm still like in a space, but like you are so sexy, and I just, like when it's time, like I am going to take you down, right? Like you tell a man that, he can wait 9 months. You kiss a man on his cheek softly. You tell him you're proud of him. You tell him he's doing a good job being a man. That fills our cup so much. Because again, women don't want it happening from other women. And so if you're in a partnership right now, hear me loud and clear. If you don't want other women doing that, you do it. I'm not saying you have to have sex with them, but our job is to take care of each other's nervous systems. And your man's nervous system needs nurture because the world is hard. And him and his friends are not hanging out, laying in a bed, rubbing through each other's hair. When he goes through a breakup or a hard time, his friends don't come hug him and go, oh my God, babe, come here, put your like head on my shoulder, lay on the bed sideways, and I'll just like rub you like this. Like, we don't do that with each other.
I'll call you up next time. Yeah, like Preston. No, not at all.
Even the most conscious men do not lay down sideways and rub each other's backs and stuff like that. And so, okay, that means that if his friends aren't doing it and you aren't, then that man's at a deficit. And at some point, even the strongest person in the world is going to break, and they're going to start looking for that thing, right? I'm going to say one more thing that's controversial. I think that the reason the porn industry, one reason that the porn industry is as big as it is because a lot of well-meaning mothers, hear this, well-meaning mothers did their best to beat out the aspects of the masculine that hurt them in their little boys. I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to let Kevin sit with it, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. I believe the porn industry is as big as it is because a lot of well-meaning mothers tried to extricate the aspects of the masculine that hurt her out of her little boy. And so we can't beat our nature. Dudes have dicks no matter what. And those dicks will want to go into something no matter what. You could be a priest. You could be the Dalai Lama. If you got a dick and it works, you're going to want that. So she makes his wild man, his killer bad in the house. And so he hides, suppresses, pushes down the killer, the wild man, when mommy's around, when women are around.
Last guy.
When women aren't around, yep, right? When women aren't around, the killer has to come back because it never goes anywhere. And so what does he do? He goes to his phone. Oh, I can just jack off to this thing, and I can do this thing, and I can do this thing. And he's looking for ways to be in that body, to feel excited, to have the killer online. You know what's amazing about my wife and I is she still doesn't know me. We're getting to know each other after 10 years. There's an aspect of me that's dangerous. I am the most dangerous person in our house. And it's sexy to her that she can't pin me down, that I'm not like her. I think that's one of the biggest issues we see in modern relationships. And men haven't been taught how to do it. And women do their best to try to contain and collapse and hold their man in these little pockets so that they don't get hurt. Like their ex-boyfriend who cheated on them, or their dad who left them. And it becomes this vicious cycle where you want this masculine Khal Drogo kind of dude, while simultaneously you're doing everything you can to make sure that doesn't show up. Right. And the two don't go together. I said a lot there, but what you hear?
You did. I mean, I got a lot, but I got another question for you. And that's when you were talking about women like being feminine and sweet to a man, providing him the exhale, pouring into him, telling him he's sexy and all the things, or being sweet and tender in a place for him to relax. I hear the voices of some women saying, but I don't want to pump up his ego. What would you say to that?
Why not? Fuck, everybody comes with an ego. Why would you not? Like, this world is harsh. If you're not going to do it, then he's going to have to find it somewhere, because humans desire each other. We are social beings. We are constantly looking for approval and security. And so what tends to happen, right, is a man will look for those things externally if he hasn't been taught how to find them internally. But there's still the reptilian, there's still the animal. The animal needs to feel safe. Safety comes in recognition. Ah, you still love me. Oh, you still care for me. Oh, you still see me. We become roommates, and something's awoken in you, and you now see that I'm more than a roommate. I'm your man, right? So it's actually a backwards ass thought to say, I don't want to pump up his ego. Well, how do you know? How do you know it's his ego? What if it's his soul? What if his heart? What if his body needs the relief of knowing that at the very least, out of all the crazy shit that's happening out in the world, that at the very least, the person in his house, the person he goes on dates with, the person he sleeps next to, at least she thinks he's awesome.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk more about how the mindset of, and the beingness, I should say, of abundance that you spoke to in the very beginning of this episode, how that bleeds into this conversation that we're in right now with relationships, the masculine, feminine, and everything. What is the stance come from that would naturally allow for all of these things?
Yep. It comes in the form of a quote, and I'll break the quote down after I say it. One of my favorite quotes in the world comes from the Gnostic Gospels of Thomas, and it reads, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. But if you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." Said differently, the fruit doesn't belong to the tree. It belongs to the ecosystem. So giving your gifts, and that's across the board, anything. That could be a compliment. That could be a poem. That could be a technique in working out. Giving your gifts. If you bring forth what is within you in any given moment, in any given minute, it will save you. But if you do not bring forth what is within you, what you don't bring forth will destroy you. A body of water without an inlet and an outlet is a swamp. And a swamp is a place where dis-ease gathers. So we need circulation across the board. Circulation of money, circulation of love, circulation of compliments, circulation of all the gifts. Because each and every one of us has a divine curriculum, something that only we can bring forward. And so our job is to bring it forward, not when someone pays me, right? I am like this always. I am an intense person, right? And this is actually how I am. If you met me in a Walmart bathroom, I would be exactly like this, right?
It's true.
Like, because, and I have, $1 million business and live on this 4-acre property and I got all the fancy cars and all the things. And bro, I was a surf instructor 9.5 years ago, making $30,000 a year. I was just as giving then as I am now. It's more now because I can give more, because I've learned more and I have accumulated more, but it's also about I can circulate more, right? I became available. The universe is looking for willing channels to pour through. The universe is looking for willing channels to pour through. Your job is to be a willing channel, to create the space. How do we create space? Circulation. What are we circulating? Our gifts, our talents, our abilities, whatever is yours, give it. Give it. And it will be returned onto you.
Nice. On the topic, what you were talking about earlier.
Spending money.
Sorry, go ahead. I think there's a lag.
Yes, exactly. I was saying there's a difference between spending money and circulating it. When I spend it, it doesn't come back. That's why I don't use that word spend. I circulate money. To circulate means to return to the sender. It always comes back. It's the same with everything. Everything, right? This podcast could have 30 million people listening, and it could have 30. And I would show up the exact same way, because my job is not to make value judgments. When humans are around, I signed up. I said, God, use me. Use me. I say it every day. Use me. Let's go. And so my work is not to be in the more, better, different, scarcity, lack, and limitation mentality. My work is, if I say yes, we're all the way a yes, full yes, saying yes to my yes and no to my no. That's the work.
Love that. And what I was going to say earlier is that the circulation talks more on what you were sharing before of like not being afraid to just love more. I mean, I know you have a book called Love Louder, even like you're like to give and express your love is a part of that circulation. And I think that I don't know, personal opinion, and also from your own perspective, which is deprived more across the board, the expression of love or receiving and letting it in, or they kind of go hand in hand?
They go hand in hand. Probably the receiving part is more of an issue for people because their receiving is conditional, right? Like when I walk out this door and I hear the cicadas on my property, I receive that. When the dragonflies start flying around, I notice and receive their dance. When the wind blows, I receive it, right? So it's the conditional receiving that people have an issue with. I'm gonna bring one more big point that usually blows people away. The shirt you have on, Kevin, the shirt I have on, the chair I'm sitting in, the microphone you're using, and everybody listening or watching this podcast, whatever you are currently wearing was yours 30 years before today. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, what you seek is seeking you. What you want wants you. The difference in the manifestation process is some people make other things bigger than so one of the laws, here it is. One of the laws in my book, Spiritual Millionaire, which comes out in August. Go to PrestonSmiles.com/book, by the way, to get the bonuses. But one of the laws is the law of the ant and the elephant. And it essentially states, and I made this law up, but not, that in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the universe, an ant and an elephant are equal. They're exactly the same in the eyes of God. They both serve their purpose. They both are consciousness in a space. Now pull that out and make it make sense for the shirt you have on versus the big desire that you have. The shirt, like I got this from Target, right? $19. No static on the line for the shirt. This material and the dye in the material were mine 30 years ago. I'm currently sitting in a house that has 3 different houses on it, and I own all of them, and 5 others in Austin. And this house that I'm sitting in right now was built in 2005. Whoever built it didn't know that they were building it for me too. Does that make sense so far?
Definitely.
Now, I'm going to make this make sense for calling in your one. Your person could be dating somebody right now, getting ready for you. Your person could be on the other side of the planet traveling right now, getting ready for you. The car, right? I have this fancy G-Wagon. That car belonged to someone else before it belonged to me. And whoever it was, whoever built it, whoever bought it, we all signed a contract somewhere in the ethers that said, all right, you got it for a little bit, then P will have it. And then P will either pass it to his kids or he'll sell it or it'll be trash or it'll belong to someone else. The biggest difference is, are you making the thing you desire an ant or an elephant? Most people make the thing they want the most the elephant. Oh, it's so big. No, it's the receiving of the ant moments that create the elephant moment. Because in the eyes of God, they're all the same. So if I receive this Target shirt the same way I received the G-Wagon, then game the fuck on. But if I make the G-Wagon my God, then the universe it will be compelled to take it away from me. So I treat it all the same. Yes and thank you. I receive. The air condition just kicked in just now. Yes and thank you. I receive.
Mm.
There's one of the laws in the book is the law of yes. And what it essentially states is that God is a yes button. It always says yes. It's like electricity. You can plug up an iPhone, you can plug up a computer, you can plug up a Tesla, or you can plug up a city. The question is do you have the infrastructure? Following so far? God is a yes button. Hitler used the power just like Gandhi did, just like Martin Luther King did, just like Kevin Crenshaw does, just like Preston Smiles does. It's only one power. And the power says yes, always, in always. The tricky thing is that the power doesn't speak English. It speaks frequency. And so what frequency, what vibration am I offering on a day-to-day basis? Out of 30 days, I dare you, all of you, to ask yourself, what vibration am I offering around the thing I want the most? Truly. Not what I tell people outwardly on Instagram or in conversations, but what vibration do I genuinely believe that it is possible for me? Or am I secretly believing that I'm somehow special in my wounds, special in my fucked upness, and it won't happen? What vibration? We offer the vibration before we ever get the demonstration. We're dropping jewels today, bro.
Yeah, you are. Any more from your book that you care to spice us up with? Maybe a personal favorite.
Yeah, I'll go a little deeper into this offer the vibration space. Many years ago, let's call it 13 years ago, I was reading a book called Conversations with God, book 1. And it said, I read this quote. It said, you can't have what you want, but you may experience what you have. And I remember my mind just being completely twisted. And I read it again, and I was like, okay, I can't have what I want, but I may experience what I have. Oh, man. So what this is basically saying is however I'm viewing any given moment, I get to have that. So my work would be then to create a having consciousness. right? So there's the haves and the have-nots. And my job is to be in the having, to be in the haves, not from like a spiritual ego hierarchical space, but from a like, what's actually going on here space. Not to get something that's somehow going to fill my cup, but for the sake of doing it, because it feels good, right? Everything we really want is because we want to feel something, right? You want the man so you can finally feel secure or safe or whatever it is. So you offer safety now for you. You want him to provide safety and containment? Contain yourself. You want him to make you feel sexy? Feel sexy. Love you like that, truly. And he will see it, because you can't have what you want, but you may experience what you have. So if you're having, I'm sexy, I'm epic, I'm beautiful, I'm a powerhouse, my man is on his way, energetically, that's exactly what's happening. Now, okay, here it goes. And this is probably the last piece, and I'm gonna have to take off pretty soon because my kids are pulling back up.
Okay.
I give this this example of, if there was an ant on the floor right now in all of our rooms, wherever you are, you see an ant on the floor, and across the room is like some cookies or a potato chip. Let's call it a potato chip. The ant senses that the potato chip is there. It doesn't know exactly. It just knows that there's something. It has a sense, right? Going back to what you want wants you. So it senses that there's a potato chip. To the ant, though, the potato chip is in the future. But to you, to me, to us, we can stand high enough to see that the potato chip is not in the future. It's in the now. You just can't see it. Everything you want is like that ant and potato chip. The moment it is in your consciousness, the moment it arises in your consciousness, it is everything you want. Let's call it materials. Let's go with materials. Everything, every material you want is on the planet right now. It's not on another planet. It's on this planet. And a way will be made based on the vibration you are offering on the way to the chip. Because an unhappy journey will never produce a happy ending. Church. An unhappy journey will never produce a happy ending. So you cannot be operating from scarcity, lack, limitation. You cannot be bracing for him to cheat on you, for him to leave you, for him to find somebody else. You cannot be shooting up your face with fillers and getting BBLs and all the other stuff because you actually hate yourself, because you're comparing yourself. You're looking in your neighbor's yard. You cannot operate from that space and then call in a man that loves you like you want to be loved. It's an inside job. I get it. There's a lot of pressure to be a woman. You've been taught since Disney to find your worth in a man. And all the 20-year-olds are pumping their faces, trying not to get wrinkles. But whose fucking construct is that? I promise you, men don't care as much as you do. We don't give a fuck what your nails look like. We want you to look like a human. You actually look like aliens when you do that to your face. I'm going to say one more thing. People are going to hate me for this. Those gigantic eyelashes that look like Bambi, that have like little rocks and stuff caught up in them, that's not attractive to everybody, right? The like extra hair weave and all that stuff that you guys put in there because you think that that's the thing. It's not all men. Like, I'm in men's groups. We talk about it. I'm in a group that I've been in for 4 years. There's like 14 of us. Of the 14, only 2 think that's attractive. Everybody else is like, yo, I'd want a woman to just look like her. Like wrinkles and all. I want to grow old with her. I don't need her to, at 27, be putting fillers in her lips so she looks more like a black girl, but even like, what? Like, just have your lips be your lips. Because then what are our kids going to look like? I'm not even going to know, because you've manipulated your entire body based on a societal construct. You're a follower. You want a leader, man, and you're going to do follower shit? Fuck out of here. You'll just be a trophy. You want a man? Be a woman. Oof,
That
that
part.
one's going to
That,
sting.
that
They're
one.
going to hate me. They're going to hate me.
Well, I'm loving you for it. That's for sure. That's fucking truth.
They're going to hate me. I love you. I love you all. For those of you who hate me right now, I promise you, I'm saying this with the utmost love. Nobody will say it. Everybody's so scared to point it out, but dudes talk about it behind the scenes. We actually don't think it's attractive. Like there's a difference between who you would fuck and who you would marry. And I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt. And even the fucking part now, like if I was single, I would not date somebody who had all that fake shit at 27. I'd be like, I want to see, like, there's all these studies about how kids are going to be screwed up because they can't read facial expressions because their moms have so much
Holy
Botox
shit.
in their face.
Wow.
Right? I want to see your face do like that. I want my kids to see a smile and it actually be a smile and not this like tight-faced thing because you're believing some Hollywood Kardashian follower shit. Be a person. Be yourself. Lead your fucking self. Like the sexiest thing on the planet is somebody who's willing to take up their space. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. But if you don't, and you follow and you copy, it will destroy you.
That fucking part. Yep. Being authentic. That's the sexy part. Somebody who, like you said, owns themselves. They own who they are. That's way more attractive than somebody's trying to look like or be like what they think they need to be to get accepted or fucked or whatever.
Yep.
Man, well, I know your kids rolled up,
It's
so
ultimately
we're going to
trauma.
wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up here. But again, there's a lag. I want you to talk very briefly on the trauma bit, and then let's wrap it because I know you got to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just ultimately what it comes down to is trauma, because we haven't had good examples. And so I say all that, and I want to say I understand because you have not had good examples. And so that's our job, right? The older I get, the wiser I get, the more of an elder I step into. I don't need to be the superstar guy. I want to help people, actually. Right? Everybody has their different roles in these spaces. I genuinely want people to shine and go forward. Like, I'd just rather be rich and have all of you guys shine outward facing, right? But for right now, I'm going to do what I got to do to help. And a part of that is letting you hear how some men think. Not all, but some, a lot. There's a lot of trauma in men, trauma in women. Yeah. And so if you know that you have some of this and you want some support, come to Bridge, right? thebridgemethod.org. It's called the Bridge Experience. Alexi and I do it here in Austin. We got another one coming up in July, another one in Australia in October, and another one in Austin in January. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Kevin, thank you for bringing me on. Thank you for having this moment. Also, my book, Spiritual Millionaire, PrestonSmiles.com/book. That thing is coming out in August. Go there ASAP.
I'm super excited for that.
3.
Yeah. Excited for the book launch. Thank you so much for being yourself, sharing yourself, and being used by God in this conversation. And always, it's such an honor to have you on the show. So I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, bro.